Things get a bloody, intense equalizing in The Equalizer 2, and we discuss if Three Identical Twins matches up to the hype here on The Real Review, so stay tuned. Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. Everybody, I am here with Joel the Con Cunningham.
It's pretty good. I guess because I just came back from SDCC. I've still got, we call it con brain.
Con brain?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you first come back, it takes you a day or two to just get back in the swing of things.
Yeah. It's like, I would imagine it being like an extreme version of coming back from any vacation.
Yeah. It's hard to explain, though, because you can't really get it in any other type of vacation I've ever taken, just because there's so much craziness with SDCC, but it's also like awesome and fun, and it's like you're deprived of sleep, but you're glad you are because it's good reasons.
And that's San Diego Comic-Con,
exactly.
And not Convict.
Right, that's true.
Okay.
And it's also, I would say, because you don't get that really at any other con that I've been to. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Let me know. Send me comments. Email us. But like the only convention that I've ever been to where it's just like uber chaos, fun, craziness, awesome, and it's not like drug related or something, is the San Diego Comic-Con. You know what I mean? Not that I go to a lot of drug related cons.
How do you feel about Con Air?
Con Air, I don't like it.
Okay.
No, it's all right. Yeah, it's not a bad one. So
put the bunny back in the box.
Put the bunny back in the box. Yeah. So and I am here with Matt. Looks like nobody else. Hey.
That's me, guys.
It's a compliment. It should be a compliment, but yeah, based upon the
because
film
I'm not a twin or a triplet.
Correct, and that you know of.
That I know of, exactly.
That's actually brought up in the. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah,
I believe
we'll
my parents, though.
I know you do.
Okay.
And you should believe your parents, kids that are listening. Trust them when they say that you're not a twin. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm all about that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the films we're going to be talking about. So, but did you want any more SDCC stuff?
I do want to get into that. First, I kind of want to intro the rest of the show.
Sure.
Let's just do it that way because I think for the people tuning in for the first time, you like to hear kind of how this breaks down, what we're all about here on The Real Review. We have Joel and I. We kind of have not necessarily opposing, but very different ways that we look at it. Movies, film, that kind of thing in general. I'm very optimistic, easygoing. If it moves me emotionally, I overlook some things. I'm not into the details too much. I can be in there sometimes, but that's more of Joel's side of things. He's a little bit more nitpicky, maybe pessimistic, maybe negative. Yeah. But he can get into the details and really kind of get into the minutia of things.
The turtle and the hare. I like the minutia. That was great.
Sure.
Minutia.
And we kind of combine those together, give you more of a perspective on the film from a couple of different angles. So you have that from a couple of different angles. I'm sure people who like Joel's perspective are like, yay. And then whenever I talk, they're like, come on, man, get your act together. And then, vice versa, the people who sympathize with my side more.
There you go.
But yeah, other than that, that's how it works. Joel, will you kind of break down some ways people can get connected with us?
Absolutely. So as mentioned, we have emails, which I'm going to start with that one for some reason. realreviewmedia@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thoughts, perspectives, input. Maybe you went to SDCC. Let me know what you thought, how you had a good time, or were not able to do half of the things that you wanted, like me. We also have our website, which is realreviewmedia.com. We can get connected with you on that. We also have Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia, and then Instagram and Twitter, which are both @realreviewmedia. We'd love to get connected with you on any of those platforms. Definitely connect.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And we got the YouTubes.
Yeah, the YouTubes, exactly. Joel, am very curious because I think this is the first thing that we're going to start with.
Yeah.
Some of the highs and lows of SDCC this year. 2018 version. No Marvel, basically.
It was actually, I want to hear what your question was, but it was a really weird con this year for specifically the panels.
Yeah.
Because usually, I will say, we've got the panels have gotten so crazy and people have wanted to see them so much that people have now gotten to the point where they're camping out 2 days in advance.
It's crazy.
To get to some of these panels. This year, people did camp out 2 days in advance, but I was able to, any panel I wanted to get to, kind of walk up the night before and just hop in to get a wristband, which you need to get a wristband generally to. And the last day, I didn't even need to get a wristband. I just walked in for the Legion panel.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of an off year in regards to the actual things they had going on.
Yeah.
I think the most highly sought after panel was DC, which is the Warner Brothers panel that happened on Saturday morning. But again, even that one, the night before, I walked into line at like 11:15 and got a bracelet for the next day, and then got in line at 6 o'clock in the morning and walked in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's do that. How about some highs? What were some of your
Well, one of the big highs, they had scooters this year, which was great.
scooters?
Yes, I don't know if anybody's been to the Gaslamp District.
Like a Razor scooter?
One of the issues I always have is like you'll be in line for something, and then you have an event that is like all the way on the other side of the Gaslamp.
Okay.
And you generally either have to like just foot it or try and get one of the
Golf carts or something?
No, they had like the guys on the bikes, and you can hop in the cart in the back. And
Yeah.
But those cost money.
Yeah.
And there's always people in the way. This year, and they've added them all around the San Diego area downtown. They have scooters that you can use your phone and activate, and it's like $1 to activate, and then
like
15
push
cents
scooters.
a minute. Yeah. And well, they're motorized.
Oh, they're motorized.
Yeah, and so you're like weaving in and
okay.
out, and there was like 2 or 3 times where those were just absolutely essential.
Wow.
I was like at a party for Funimation at this bar place where they were doing all these handouts, and then I had to go down and get in line, and I just hopped on a scooter and I was like,
Does it cost money?
It does.
Did they?
Yeah.
I bet they made a killing.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, them and Pokemon Go were like the hit.
Really?
Which was crazy because
Okay.
I didn't even know people were still playing Pokemon Go. But that was a high. I guess that's sad to say that a highlight for me was scooters, but they were amazing, and it saved me a lot of headache and foot pain. But as far
Nice.
as panels go, I think probably the top panels were actually probably Aquaman.
Okay,
was
cool.
a really awesome panel. They just did a really great job of presenting it. They showed new footage.
I heard the showmanship was really cool.
Yeah, the showmanship was great. So this wasn't the host's problem or the moderator. Aisha Tyler was moderating for Warner Brothers and DC.
Sure.
And the questions she was actually asking were really stupid, and
Okay.
bland and flat. But she said a couple times, like, I didn't write these questions. I think they were probably written by like execs at Warner Brothers that were like, well, these are the kind of questions that would be great for a panel in Hall H.
Right.
She's much more familiar with like wanting what people want to hear. And so they were all softball questions of like, when you were on set, what was your favorite thing? And it was just like, and the answers from the panels were just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the more interesting questions usually came, and it's not usually because they're great questions, but they're just so absurd and crazy sometimes from the Q&As,
Right.
where they have audience attendees ask questions. And so it was good. I really enjoyed it. They showed the trailer for Aquaman, and then they showed some sneak preview additional trailer footage.
Right, which is not in the public.
Right, which you don't get to see yet, and there was some really cool stuff there.
So I saw the trailer. I thought the trailer was cool.
Yeah.
Not as great as I was thinking, but I keep hearing that the additional footage has really pushed it over the edge into some really cool territory.
Absolutely. Visually, it looks like it's going to be an awesome film to watch. There's some weirdness right now with me, and I hate to say it, but Jason Momoa.
Okay.
There's a couple times in the trailer specifically with his dialogue where it comes across as almost goofy.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's what they're going for, or if that's just the tone of the trailer.
It still seemed to have that like kind of bro surfer like.
Yeah, I'm fine with the
tone
bro
from-
surfer and like the serious somber, and like in Justice League, he was actually one of my favorite characters in Justice League. Like he was the most fun and interesting, and he kind of was the most divergent from everybody.
He's
He
like,
seemed to be very
"Aha,
serious.
my man."
Right. But there was just a couple elements in the trailer, dialogue, and like he lands in there's a scene where he like breaks into one of the submarines that's submerging, and he's like, "Permission to come aboard."
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, "Come on!" Like
That's
know,
like 90s action movie.
right? And I'm just like, "Come on!" But I did get a chance to high five Jason Momoa.
I saw your
which
pictures,
was super
man.
awesome. It was a very aggressive high five.
Did you
but
high five
totally
Nicole
worth it.
Kidman?
No, I did not high
okay.
five Nicole Kidman. She kind of looked like she was stunned into silence.
That photo
Yeah.
that you posted of her, she looked like
She looks haunting.
angry,
She looks
kind of.
haunting,
Yeah.
I think, in the photo. Some frozen features there. But anyway, she had mentioned in her panel, because she's Aquaman's mom in the film, but she mentioned it was her first time in Hall H, and I don't think that she had ever experienced anything related to Comic-Con. I don't think she knew what she was in for.
Yeah.
And so when she was walking down the floor, because they did the panel, and then they went, and it was just circumstantial that I happened to be there with them leaving, and I got the high five. I just saw the line. You learn these things. This was like my 7th SDCC.
Sure.
And so it was like I saw the handler put up the sign saying that like the security is going to be forming a line, and I just placed myself right there, so
Okay.
I knew the line would form around me. And so I was right in the front, do the high five.
That's awesome.
But when she walked by, like I could tell she was like, I don't know what is happening, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's like a freak out thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was probably my highlight. Godzilla looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like they're going for a different tone,
Sure.
Slightly, and a different feel with the film. Grindelwald, or the
Crimes of Grindelwald.
Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah, fantastic piece.
The trailer looked really good. The panel kind of stunk, and there was that awkward moment with Johnny Depp.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he kind of, because he came out and he was like dressed like his character, but he was speaking like Johnny Depp.
Oh,
and so it
really?
was like, is this Johnny Depp or is this the character?
I forgot to
It was
stay in character or
the
something.
best moment that's ever happened at SDCC, and we'll wrap up here so we can get into the actual film talk.
Yeah.
But there was a Loki moment during one of the Marvel
Yep.
panels early on, and Loki came out in character.
Yep.
And it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
like, "You plebeian minions,
Yeah.
worship me," and then he would kind of like smirk a little bit, so you knew he was kind of like in on it. It was
Right.
it was really good stuff.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Was there a low point? Anything that was like, ugh, that was weird?
Yeah, I think just all the other panels, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
I did also go to the Breaking Bad, and
That's cool. I know.
yeah.
I love that.
And Better Call Saul. Those were great. I actually asked a question during the Better Call Saul, and I got a free Los Pollos Hermanos meal
Yeah.
with chicken and a visor.
Was it good?
Which was
Good
awesome.
chicken?
It was actually really good chicken. I shared
Okay.
it with all the people that were around me. That was a great panel. Legion was not very good.
Okay. Bummer.
I think, yeah. I think just overall, there was just a sense of things being a little less.
Yeah.
I will HBO wasn't there at all. Marvel
Okay.
wasn't there at all. Star Wars wasn't there.
Right.
Marvel's going to come next
Star
year.
Wars had some of their novelization stuff like announced. That,
Yeah.
but that was it.
The low point of the panels, the worst one was the Marvel games, for
Oh,
sure.
okay, yeah.
It was just like the worst one. But I didn't go to a ton of them, but it was like, let's sit here and talk for 15 minutes about a cellular game, like a cell phone game.
Okay.
And I'm like,
That
yeah.
was a little weird.
Their big announcement for that panel was that like they have a new PlayStation 4, which has the Spider-Man logo on it from the
Right.
Spider-Man video game, and
Yeah.
and the new costume. And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, do I get one? If I get one, then I care. But
Do I get one? Are
Yeah.
you giving us PlayStation?
exactly. So anyway,
My favorite trailer to come out of Comic-Con was the Shazam trailer,
oh, that was good.
which
Yeah.
I was not anticipating. I love Zach Levi,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even know that the kid who plays Eddie from It was in it. And I was like, I was just it was such a fun trailer to me.
Yeah.
And it just looks like a superhero version of Big.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I don't know, it just seemed really fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I think if it holds true to what direction the trailer's going in, it could be another positive for the
Yeah.
DC universe because they need some more wins right
And I
now.
didn't realize that David Sandberg's directing it, who is the Lights Out director, which I really liked Lights
right.
Out. So
yeah, the
that's cool.
panel was not that great just because they only had like 3
Yeah.
actors there, and it was like they couldn't
Right.
talk about much and everything. Another low. The panel itself was fun, but the Predator panel.
Yeah.
For the
I
first.
heard that wasn't very good.
No, the footage looks like they tried to explain it like, well, we wanted to try create new things, and they literally just basically said like, now we're gonna add. And they just released the fact that they're gonna have female predators as well, but it literally just looks like they're trying to go like, well, we need just more predator stuff, so they created like a giant super predator.
Yeah, that was in the trailer. Yeah.
Right, and he looks BA, but at the same time, it's kind of like, hey, it feels like you're just trying to stock it full of stuff.
Right.
And they gave you, and this is the last thing I'll say, they gave you, like when you walk in, sometimes they'll
Yeah.
give you like free items and stuff. So
Yeah.
they gave us a Predator bag, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting. I wonder what's inside. So you'd think the Predator, it's going to be like, I don't know, fake claws or something, like
Right.
like a face mask or something like that. Just something that's a little more intimidating, like even a patch with the Predator on it. It was hand sanitizer,
Okay.
a battery charger, a portable battery charger,
Okay.
and a butt pad. So for like when you sit down, if you
Did it say
Weird.
Predator on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm like, what?
It's like, I feel like the hand sanitizer, they were like, well, we have to put something else in here. Let's just get something from the store real quick. I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of what that was.
Yeah, they had, and I forget the lady. She was on, I think, Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. She was like a lady she was like works for them, and she was like talking about all the stuff that they gave you, and she's like trying to explain like, oh, isn't this great how we gave you all these things? And I'm like, this doesn't relate to Predator at all. Like I could, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
No worries. Well, hey, that was your 7th one. I've been to 0 SDCCs, and
One of these
hopefully that
days.
can change in the future.
One of these days.
Sometime.
Next one is their big 5-0 celebration. So
Yeah, I should. Yeah, okay. I gotta try and make it. Anyways, okay. So let's move on because we have a few movies to talk about today.
Yep.
The first one is the anticipated sequel, which I was excited for, The Equalizer 2. Let me just kind of break that down real quick. And so, the simple synopsis is Robert McCall serves an unflinching justice for exploited and oppressed. But how far will he go when that is someone he loves? Again, Robert McCall is the man, the myth, the legend, Denzel Washington. But then you also have Pedro Pascal, Ashton Sanders, Orson Bean, Bill Pullman, Melissa Leo, Jonathan Scarf, and Sakina Jeffrey. So let me say this. I was a little bit disappointed by this movie. Just kind of say out. Because I actually really liked the first one. I thought the first Equalizer had kind of an old school, like, filmmaking quality. And what I mean by that, it reminded me of some more of the dramas from back in like the 80s and 90s, where you have a lot of long takes of cityscapes, kind of music behind it, kind of setting the vibe of the atmosphere of the city, like long takes following cars where they're going, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, it's kind of a slower pace. There wasn't stuff happening every scene, like crazy stuff. And it was nice. And it felt good. It felt like it took its time really well. And the first movie had a clear antagonist, and it had a clear climax at the ending where they're battling head to head, and it was really well done. I really liked it, and it was brutal just the way it needed to be. So I had that modern sensibilities as far as action is concerned, kind of that John Wick, real fast, kinetic stuff. The second one had some of that, not nearly as much, but I felt like it took way too much time in that, and what I appreciated about the first one, kind of how it took its time doing things. I felt like it took way too long, and it's like just over 2 hours long. I got bored. I looked at my watch a couple times. When I say watch, I mean cell phone. But I was looking at my phone. I was like, what? I was like, man, is this over? It's like, it just felt like it took forever to get going.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. Denzel did great. I felt like maybe they just focused on some of the wrong things. I liked, and it's weird to say, but I didn't really care for the last 30-minute battle or whatever you want to call it. I was like, okay. And I didn't feel like the antagonist was very good. So it was just kind of like, man, I was disappointed because I was expecting it to be on par, because it had basically the original team, Antoine Fuqua back directing it. Denzel, obviously, but Denzel was great.
Yeah,
he's great. I don't think he could do wrong. He's going to be legendary for all time.
He's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him in anything that I was like, Denzel.
Yeah.
He kind of phoned that one in.
Yeah.
I think no matter what he
in everything.
Yeah, he's got an intensity there.
In fact, he's in one of my favorite films. I wouldn't put it on a list or anything, but I know we talked about this before, but I love The Book of Eli.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, so anyways, I think Denzel is just an amazing actor, and he does no wrong in what he does and what he brings to it.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was just sort of I don't know, okay.
Did it feel like they came up with a realistic set of circumstances for him to revisit the role?
Yeah, but he's kind of an everyday justice guy. He doesn't need to so a lot of the stuff that you see him do at the beginning is just everyday justice from people that he sees that needs justice in their life,
right?
Or help or something.
Right, he's the equalizer.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to come out of hiding like a John Wick does. John Wick goes because he's got a big bad guy he's got to face, but he's helping regular people.
Right.
And even if that means helping them stay off the streets, that kind of thing. And I like that part of it. I like his care and concern for people. And I think that's where Denzel really shines in this movie. But did
they create some sort of fable around him from the first movie? No. So he's not known in the bad areas of town for being this equalizer.
No, it's not like they're building a mythology around it or anything.
Okay.
It's
I never saw the first one. That's why I'm asking.
Right. Yeah. The first one was rather enjoyable. I was surprised. I'd never seen it until 6 months ago I saw it, and I really was like, man, how come I didn't see this? I like this movie. The second one I was just like, it's okay. I mean, it was fine. There wasn't anything necessarily particularly bad. I felt like some of the motivations were unclear. I felt like again, the antagonist wasn't that good, and also in addition to that, the story elements were a little I didn't understand some of it, and I'm like, normally I understand things.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why is that a big deal? I didn't whatever. Anyways, any other
No, I mean, I didn't see the first one. I didn't see this one because I didn't see the first one. So
yeah, I mean, if I had to rate this thing, I'd probably get just C, 70,
C.
77, 76.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
What is, so if you had to say the best part of it, what would that be?
The action sequences.
The action sequences. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I liked where they went with some of the slower dramatic moments where he's trying to help regular everyday people.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they were set up very well, and I don't feel like they were paid off very well.
Gotcha. So pacing was a bit off.
Yeah.
Story just didn't quite do anything for you. Too long.
Yeah, it was long. I felt like they could have cut 15 minutes just out of scenic cityscape shots.
One of the things they really highlighted, at least in the trailer that I saw for it, was that it's very grotesquely violent in the sense that
it is very violent, just like the first one was.
Right.
And so that stays true to what it is. There's a scene that happens in a car, an action sequence, that when the guy dies, everybody in the theater had the same reaction, like, "Oh, dang!" Like it was like intense.
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, that was brutal," but it's really well done, like in a good way, you know,
like John Wick style.
Right. There's a couple moments where I don't know, yeah, John Wick style, but
John Wick is like boom, 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 boom. It's like this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. He very rarely has a long
John Wick kills people
person.
right away. This guy, he'll take his time, like, and he'll like if he's got a knife, it takes like 8 slashes before you're dead, that kind of a thing. So
he makes it count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a C. I mean, I didn't like the way it ended. They tried to go for this emotional pull for something that I don't feel like was set up very well. But
do you think they left it open for a third?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they could do a third. I mean, he's still. You know,
he's still equalizing
things, so it's all good. But that's really it for that movie. The next movie that I want to talk about, is something that you saw that I hadn't had a chance to see. And I seen it advertised. I thought it was on Netflix for some reason, but I was mistaken.
Yep.
And you're like, "Yep, you were wrong, Matt." But this movie is called Three Identical Strangers, right?
Yes.
Okay, so break it down.
Synopsis for this: in the 1980s New York. In 1980 New York, 3 young men who were all adopted meet each other and find out they are triplets who were separated at birth. Then they discovered why.
What are the odds?
Dun, dun, dun.
That is crazy.
Directed by Tim Wardle.
The documentary style, right?
It is.
Okay.
The starring people are primarily the brothers. You have Eddie Gayland, Robert Shaffron, and then David Kellman. So the 3 main brothers are Eddie, David, and Robert, who they also refer to as Bobby over the course of the film. So I went into this one mainly because I didn't want to see Mamma Mia 2.
Right.
Which is getting surprisingly good ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and it just freaks me out. But I heard a lot of positive buzz about this one as well. It's been out in theaters for a little while, and so I will say it's not a new release or anything like that. And I think it's a bit of a limited release. I don't think it's out there everywhere. Most documentaries are limited release just by the nature of how they stand to make a lot of money. I went into it hearing that there's a bit of a twist to it, and I think that kind of, in a sense, spoiled it a little bit for me.
Okay.
I think if I had gone into it not expecting so much from it, I would have been a lot more pleased with it. There is a twist, and things kind of do go like topsy-turvy and go in some different directions with some aspects, but it felt a bit... Here's what I'll say. It was an entertaining film.
Okay.
And I think it definitely deserves to even be nominated probably for like an Academy Award. It's
getting recognition for sure.
Yeah. I think it'll be up there, and I think it'll probably run in for a couple awards, including like, best documentary of the year and everything. As far as like groundbreaking, transitional, ethical input into our culture and society, it felt like it was kind of aiming for that at times with certain aspects that really kind of revolved more around the twist.
But not hitting it?
Okay. For me, it was interesting.
Okay.
And it definitely left me asking questions. And but to me, it presented, there's a lot of people that feel like this is a black and white film. And that's the thing that, like, if you feel it's a black and white film, then the twist or whatever that's going to happen is probably going to be very shocking for you. When it comes to the story being told of them and meeting and why and how. And there's definitely some things in there that are, pretty emotionally hard and difficult for these kids. I'm doing my best to not spoil any elements from the story here, because I think this one, it's better not to. But at the same time, I think when I got to the end of the film, it left me with more of a sense of more like, I don't know what to think about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like I'd need more of this or need more of that to kind of really get some of the... Because it presents a case of ethical dilemmas. Of choices that were made by people under differing circumstances, and you're not really given answers as to why everybody made certain decisions and going in certain directions. And there's a number of characters, like their mother and the people that they were adopted through, like the agency that they were adopted through, and some of the other stuff that comes out later, that you're kind of like, I don't really get the motivation. I don't really understand. Their motivation might have been good, or it could have been greed, or it could have been this, or it could have been, or not greed, but more pride or self-centeredness, or not thinking of other people.
Sure.
And so I wish that there had been a more satisfying sort of conclusion to it, and that might just be sort of the idea that they're presenting. They left it kind of open-ended. So they, about halfway through the film, they present this sort of build-up conclusion of what different things mean that are presented in the film, sort of thematic elements, of the story of the twins. And then some things go on and happen, and then at the very, very last 5 or 10 minutes of the film, I'm not going to spoil it, but things kind of take a shift again, where they present a different thematic idea and concept. But then they never really do more to fill in the gap there or really discuss.
They just present it and that's it.
Yeah, and without spoiling things, without tiptoeing into some of the twists of the story.
Sure.
One of the big elements that's presented, one of the themes, is the whole idea. You discuss this, if you take any intro to psych or whatever, they talk about this nurture versus nature.
Yeah.
And the idea of these 3 boys being separated and how that plays out in their lives, because they each had distinctly different parents and different lifestyles, even though they were generally around each other.
Right.
They were within 1,000 mile.
That's crazy.
100-mile radius of each other.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so how that plays out, and they draw certain conclusions that kind of go in different directions, and so at the end of it, I kind of left thinking I'd like to know more. That's interesting. I don't really know what I'm supposed to take from this though, as far as is that good? Is that bad? Where did that go? How did that happen?
They're going to make a sequel.
It's the 3 Identical Twins Part 2. No, I don't think they're going to make a sequel to this.
3 Identical Twins Square.
But one of the things they do say is that there is legitimately out there some people, and I will spoil this, it's not really a spoiler, but they say that there's legitimately probably at least 4 or 5 people out there that are still walking around that have an identical twin that don't even know it.
Huh.
And so that's why I made the joke earlier.
Yeah, well, it's
that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's true. Yeah.
I'm not saying it, Matt, but I totally am.
Well, all these boys, Bobby and Eddie and all them, they all knew that they were adopted.
Okay.
And so when the circumstance started to happen where they realized that there was other twins, it wasn't what the heck, I'm adopted.
Right.
It was So I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's a film overall that's worth seeing. I don't know if it's worth seeing in theaters. I think you can definitely get the same exact experience.
I'll probably wait for Netflix, as I thought it was on Netflix.
You can get the same thing through Redbox. You can get the same thing through Netflix. There's no really cinematic spectacle of it. It's more of just kind of a somber story that makes you think, and you're kind of left going that's really interesting. So
what would you rate that thing?
Based upon everything that I saw, I'm actually giving it an 84.
Okay.
So it's a B.
Not bad. B?
No. It's like I said, it's worth seeing. I think overall it's deserving of the positive buzz. It's not groundbreaking in my life.
Sure.
A couple months from now,
I'll probably change your life. No.
No, I probably. Okay. I mean, I might reference it, but I'm not going to be thinking about it consistently.
You're like SDCC changed my life more.
It did.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah. It always does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got 2 really cool posters from there. I'm going to be hanging
awesome.
and looking at and going, oh.
And I got a Jurassic Park patch.
Yes,
it's so exciting.
that's what I got.
Anyways.
I try to take care of you, Matt.
Yeah. Appreciate
Stick with
it.
me.
Appreciate it.
There you go. So that's me.
Yep. That's awesome. So 3 Identical Twins. I will watch it on Netflix. I refuse to watch it any other way. No,
Sounds good.
I got to stand my ground on that one. Let's talk about one more movie I got a chance to see, and it is The First Purge. Let me break that down real quick.
And hopefully the last.
So, first of all, this is a prequel to the other 3 Purge movies that have been out in previous years. So, just so you don't get your timelines all mixed up. But America's third political party, the New Founding Fathers of America, comes to power and conducts an experiment. No laws for 12 hours on Staten Island. No one has to stay on the island, but $5,000 is given to anyone who does. Directed by Gerard McMurray and written by James DeMonico. Stars, here we go, man. I'm going to mess up some names. Sorry about that. But it's Yellen Noel, Lex Scott Davis, Joyvan Wade Mugga, Patch Dara, and Marissa Tomei. So this is my least favorite Purge movie. And I've been thinking about it and kind of not to say that the other Purge movies are great. Let me just say that, by the way.
Quality showing.
Quality.
Right there.
I think the first Purge movie is the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's a contained in-house home invasion thriller, basically, with this really messed up concept. You don't get a lot of what's happening in the outside world, but I felt that was okay for that film. Ethan Hawke is in it. So is Cersei. I can't think of her real name.
I know you're talking about
Lena Headey, right?
Lena Headey.
Lena Headey. Okay, so anyways, I like that. The second 2 are more kind of they're more of like kind of like the same type of movie split into two parts.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I would imagine. It's more of an action thriller, less horror, suspense, but more of an action thriller. Frank Grillo's out there, helping people left and right, basically. And it was fun. I thought they were okay. I thought they were really, really heavy and really, really heavy on the nods towards like today's society and stuff like that. And that's really what they've been kind of all along. But the second and third one were really like that.
Yeah. I saw the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Anarchy and Election Year were the two middle ones.
Yeah.
This one, the first Purge, takes place before all that. Before the Purge is an actual thing, basically, they've confined it to Staten Island. And
so they're basically allowing the Purge to take place in one limited area.
Right. It's the first one area. It's like kind of like
a test.
So basically, the new founding fathers just came into power. They just took over the presidency, basically.
Yeah.
And this is their first thing. Marissa Tomei is a psychologist. She's like, this is going to be something that I think probably would help. On paper, it makes sense.
Yeah. Marissa Tomei is in charge.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Okay. Woo, it's a stretch already.
So anyways, well, she's not in charge. She's just a psychologist who's working with the person in charge of the experiment.
So Hot Aunt May is in charge of the first Purge.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
in case you haven't seen that,
they started. There's a lot of build up towards it. This time, they spent a lot of time with the characters and trying to get you to invest in these characters. I don't think they did a very good job because I don't care about these people for the most part.
Okay.
Because they just make really dumb decisions. One of the kids, just makes really dumb decisions, thinking that it's going to be all good. One of them's an activist, but why? I don't know why. One of them's a drug dealer, and they try and like create this like love relationship thing between. But I'm like, why? There's history, but I don't know anything about this. So why is this a big deal? I don't know. That part didn't work for me. I'm sure it works for some people, but I felt like they focused a lot on that. And what would have been interesting in the last two Purge films, I thought there was too much political stuff. In this one, I felt like there wasn't enough. I felt like they like, hey, we're doing this, and that's really it. And you see a little bit of the psychology behind why they want to do it and why they think it might work. But it would have been nice to see, like, how did you come to the conclusion that let's have a bunch of like murder parties? Like I don't understand. They didn't talk about it. They were just like,
discuss that?
They're just like they're just like, hey, the new founding fathers became they're in power now, and we have this idea, like, and then now fast forward, we're gonna have all crime be legal for 12 hours. They didn't show you the process of creating that idea. There wasn't a guy like in like the new founding fathers of America who was like, you know what, it'd be a really good idea. Let's just have people, get rid of their quote unquote demons and kill people and do crime stuff. Yeah. They didn't have that moment. So I was kind of like, well, how did you jump to that? Like, where did that come from? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, one thing that they've done in the previous films, which is fine, is that they've definitely made a case to show that all the people in power are freaking crazy. So sure, they're just crazy people, and that was what they thought of. Yeah. I'll take that, but it just wasn't enjoyable. And the way they ended it, they didn't tie it back into the political ramifications of what some of the stuff was that they were talking earlier. And just like, hey, the people that you cared about, some of them died, some of them made it out. I was kind of like... So you're saying this movie lacked depth? Yes. And, what? And excitement. I don't know. It wasn't even like... In the last two, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. You're following your guy that, he's kind of been around. He's trying to protect some people. He's a stand-up guy, kind of a thing. I don't know. He didn't have that in this movie. I thought the acting was fine. Yeah. There wasn't any problem there. Yeah. I thought everybody was really well. I thought the person who played Dimitri and Naya, I thought they were good. And Isaiah, I thought they're all really good. Yeah. Just like, meh, I don't know. If I were to rate it, I would give it a D+. Okay. Kind of low. I was just like, I don't know. They didn't need to make it. There was one joke that I was like, wow, that is a joke off of today and what's happening in today. So they definitely have today's society in mind and government and stuff like that. I was like, wow, I can't believe they went there with this. Anyways, tiptoed into some political territory. There, that happened about halfway through the movie. I was like, wow, okay, they went there, and anyways. So not impressed. It's interesting. They definitely pegged it as going into social commentary with some of like the reviews and the stuff, the commentary that they were talking about leading up to the film. Yeah. But maybe they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. So here's the thing. It is a social commentary, but you don't have to get that unless you want to. It was a stepping stone because the Purge TV series comes out in a couple months.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, they have.
I made the joke about the last one.
Yeah, they have a mid-credit scenes where they basically tease that there's
Right.
I think it's a 10-episode season of the Purge, which they don't
Right.
say if it's going to be the only season. It could be ongoing. I don't know.
It's going to be on USA.
Here's the
and
thing.
stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be on USA, and it's going to be.
That's kind of how I always felt about these movies, though. I always felt like it was almost like Violent Light.
Yeah.
Like it always felt like I could see it on a network television show.
Right. I will say this. So is USA after a certain time of night, they reel back on what they censor.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
FX.
Yeah.
Sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah. Exactly.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think it has a potential to be pretty intense still because the concept was always kind of a really interesting concept.
Yeah, the concept is strange and interesting. It's just how they get to it.
The
It's a little bit
execution
like,
isn't always good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's really it. D plus, 67, 68, somewhere in there.
How likely are you to try and check out the show?
I'll probably check it out.
Okay.
I mean, I got to catch up on years worth of other TV.
Walking
but
Dead.
Walking Dead's a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, anything else? Insights?
No.
No? Okay,
No.
cool.
Haven't seen it. Probably won't.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's show, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Real quick, you can get connected with us on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Real Review Media. Our website, realreviewmedia.com, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. If you want to drop us a line, send us a show that you're excited about, or if you liked any of the movies that maybe we didn't like, let us know. Or if you're a twin and don't know that you have another twin, email us. Let us know. Are you a twin or a triplet? Anyways, that's all we got for the show today. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. Think we're good.
All right. Well, it's been real.
It's been real.